Welcome to the first edition of Housing Development for the year 2022. Predictions are beginning to pour in for the real estate sector this year. What is in store for Nigerian housing sector? While no one can predict exactly what will happen, however, stakeholders see a positive light in the sector in 2022. Now looking back, the housing market has done well despite many problems caused by the pandemic. Let's have a look at the news that made hit over the last couple of days in the housing sector. As always, I am your housing diva, Flora Annie. I'll be back in a moment.
The governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Wednesday resolved the Magodo Phase 2 estate land dispute among warring parties with assurance to ensure fairness, justice, transparency and equity. Sanwo-Olu gave the assurance during a stakeholders meeting with Magodo residents, judgment creditors, members of the Nigeria Police from Office of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, and members of the State Executive Council. The governor, in setting up a committee chaired by the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Moyoshore Onigbanjo, has said that the committee would begin work to identify available plots of lands in Sangisha with allocations to be made in a mutually agreeable location. He stated that upon identification of available and accessible land, the state government is to immediately allocate the land to the 549 judgment creditors. Further speaking, the chairman, Sangisha landowners Adebayo Adeiga, expressed satisfaction with the governor's promise to settle the dispute amicably. The federal government has said that it will collaborate with the Nigerian Exchange Limited, NGX, to build a framework that helps issuers navigate climate disclosure and ultimately improve the climate data available to the investment and finance community. The Minister of State for Environment, Chief Sharon Ikeazo, stated this during the digital closing gong ceremony hosted by NGX to mark the end of the 2021 stock trading year in Lagos. Ikeazo noted that NGX has played an exemplary role in Nigeria's commitment to mitigating the effects of climate change. She added that climate change is a serious and long-term threat to which Nigeria has continued to show commitment to the goals of the Paris Agreement on climate change. Hence, the recent ascent of the climate change by President Muhammadu Buhari, which provides, amongst other things, the mainstreaming of climate changes in the country and the establishment of Council on Climate Change. Project Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of Mono Housing Limited, Comrade Richard Bawan, has said that the construction of affordable mass housing units for local government workers in Plateau State will commence in the first quarter of 2022. He disclosed this while receiving the technical report on the assessment of 397 building firms who bidded for the project. According to Bawan, the submission of the technical report was all that was needed for the construction to commence, stating that with the report being received, the construction will commence in earnest, with a number of 370 houses to be constructed in each of the 17 local governments of the state for the local government staff, amounting to a total of 6,290 units. The mass housing scheme is expected to bridge the housing deficit in Plateau State. Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN, leading housing development advocacy group, has predicted a growth rate of 2.9% for the country's real estate sector in 2022. Femi Oyedele, who was a guest at HDAN Real Estate Outlook 2022 virtual meeting, has said that the general outlook of the sector is bright, especially given its performance in the previous year, where it recorded growth of 2.3% as against 1.9% prediction. Oyedele, who disclosed this recently in Abuja, attributed the growth to a number of factors, which include the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Real Estate Support Program and Enabling Environment, amongst other factors. He stated that contributions of Lagos State Government and the FCT in ensuring proper executions of housing projects if implemented, will have great impact on the sector in the year 2022.
To read the full details of the news and other housing reports, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Moving on, what are Nigerians saying about the challenges experienced in the sector in 2021? What improvement would they want to see in 2022? Let's find out on Voices on the Streets.
One thing is that they say the geologist is supposed to interview and examine the weight of the earth before putting a structure on it. But it comes to my knowledge that many people are ignorant of it. And it results to collapsing of building. You can imagine a place that is a shallow, like a swamping place. You go and build 4-story building, which carries a lot of heavy blocks and irons. When the earth, the water soaked it to the level, I believe there's a level of quantity of water that's supposed to affect the cement, that the cement have the capacity to absorb.
Government knows that as a growing economy and a growing population in Nigeria, the house and shelter is a challenge. And until they go to think of the middle class and the lower class to do massive housing, then we are still not going to get the good smile.
You go to so many estates in this country, you see there are a lot of houses that are dominant there, nobody is using them. And the place that is that the ordinary men can afford in this country, some of those people that are occupying those estates, they are going there to occupy those places. So there is no space for some people that are the less privileged to occupy that place. There is no space for them anymore. So some people are going.
We want government to narrow down their policy in the sense that it becomes liberal, that each and every individual from anywhere can access this fund, make their contribution, and then have access to houses. There are several houses lying fallow without occupants, and I don't know what government is doing about that.
The regulation when it comes to building houses, and I think the government is doing well, because you see where the rights demolition, which means maybe, I don't know why the rights, I just feel maybe the quality of what they're using is not good enough. Then the improvement I feel that should come when it comes to housing, if it's possible for people to pay monthly, because there are places where you pay monthly and everybody becomes half house. Other places, in Nigeria, you pay 1 year. Sometimes landlords tell you to pay 2 years. It's actually 2 ways, though. For the landlord, it benefits them, but for people who are coming in, it's not easy. You understand? But if possible for the government to make it, what happened to the low cost houses? Like, everything is privatized and everybody's just suffering so much, and the government can do something about it.
If you notice in, let me say, the Abuja scenario now, what you actually have is a lot of people can't actually afford houses close to FCC within the center. They are always very, very expensive. So as a result, you have much of the labor force coming from the outskirts of Abuja. You have people coming from Suleja. You have people coming from Nyanya, and so affordability and availabilities seems to be a very serious issue.
Gano here, CEO Brent and Hamas Affordable. Keep watching Housing Development Program.
Voices on the Street there. Some of the challenges experienced in 2021 the respondents mentioned are housing affordability, poor access to mortgage finance, unoccupied housing estates, while some are sleeping on the bridges, building collapse experienced in some states of the Federation. They all wish for housing affordability and accessibility for low-income Nigerians. Let's go for a short break. I'll be back.
My name is Alhaji Dr. Ali Orojuwamoko, the President of Real Estate Developers Association. I urge you to keep watching Housing Development Program because it's the only way out for you to understand the housing business and housing delivery in Nigeria.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. It's the start of a new year. What would 2022 housing market look like? Estate surveyor and valuer Olufemi Oyedele in a Zoom interview give an outlook for the year 2022. Let's have a look.
The real estate market outlook for 2022. And I told the whole world that in 2021, the prediction was that the real estate market in Nigeria will experience 1.5% growth. Despite COVID-19 and despite the breach of trust due to some miscreants producing properties that eventually collapsed, and then those that the property developers that will collect money from their buyers and they will not deliver. We still, despite those challenges, the real estate sector in Nigeria for 2021 still outperformed its prediction by growing from 1.5 to 2.3. We experienced 2.3 growth last year. Now, for this year, professionals, especially in the real estate sector, the real estate market, they are saying that we are going to experience 2.9 based on some factors. The factors being that now the COVID-19 is gradually eroding. We are no more, a lot of, you can see me, I'm not wearing mask now. I can see Mr. Adebayo is not wearing mask. It's because the environment is now becoming less serious with this issue of COVID-19. Due to this, a lot of people will have an opportunity of doing their businesses, and then we are going to experience more money. Apart from that, the government for this year lined out a lot of projects that they are going to execute. This is going to cost money, and it's going to put a lot of people in market, making them have purchasing power. For example, there is this CBN 100 for 100 project. CBN is committing 5 billion naira into that project. That's one. There is this what we call Jubilee Fund for graduates, 75,000 naira. If a graduate is getting 75,000 naira from the federal government every month, definitely we will look for a house of maybe 25,000 naira per annum. That's something. So I'm just saying a lot of projects like that for this year alone. And then when you look at our improved budget, when I'm improved in quotes, I'm quoting that improved. Improved in the sense that the volume is increasing. Is an improvement in our budget for this year. Second, Buhari signed before we did New Year. He signed that budget, meaning that execution of budget for this year is going to be unprecedented. We are going to start executing. That is, we are going to start executing projects on in that budget, 2022 budget, very, very, very early, as we have never experienced before. All these will assist in achieving that 2.9 growth. And then the last one, which I must not miss, is the fact that we are in pre-election year. This is 2022, and 2023 is when we are going to conduct the most important election in Nigeria, which is the presidential election. There is going to be a lot of fun under the campaign guides. GUIS under the exercise of campaigning. Money we exchange hand. We can see what when in Lagos I saw what happened during the Christmas and New Year. A lot of politicians buying Christmas gifts because we are moving into pre-election year. This trend will continue and which will definitely impact the real estate sector for this year. So residential estate and the commercial real estate being the core, major, is the main focus in Nigeria. In Nigeria here, those two land use, residential real estate and commercial real estate, they take like between 70 to 75% of the market. So they are going to, the two areas is going to record tremendous growth.
Estate surveyor and valuer Olufemi Oyedele there with a positive outlook for the real estate sector in 2022. Now, starting the new year with a positive step of providing low-income earners with low-cost housing they can afford will be a great achievement. Now, architect Mohammed Sada, former Minister of Mines and Steel, says one major way to bring down the cost of materials for affordable housing to be achievable is a shift towards the usage of locally produced materials. Now take a listen.
Building materials often constitute the single largest input to housing construction in most developing country cities, particularly in Africa. The potentials and benefits of local building materials remain untapped and seem to progress at a slow rate in the Nigerian building industry. There are lots of building materials that can be sourced locally for construction purpose. A reduction in the cost of material can also result in reduction in overall construction costs. According to architect Mohammed Sada, he says one major way to bring down the cost of material for affordable housing to be achievable is a shift towards the usage of local materials.
We can start looking at material development. We know right from colonial times how much importance wood plays in construction of houses, because they are properly seasoned. They produce so many. In those days, your balusters for your staircases and these are all made of wood. You have even floors made of wood. You have structures made of wood, and we have this wood here. We have to start thinking of investing in it so that local building material development becomes a big issue even for property developers. You are doing it, you must participate and make sure that those that are making effort to promote this, and you are a party to it because you'll be the end users. And these are some of the things that will take you away from the forex problem. The moment you start importing building components, building finishes, you are already throwing yourself into the forex problem of the country. Everything will now start interpreting into foreign exchange, and then you are completely dislodged from that line of affordability that you want to build. So if we go back and start looking at those things, recently there has been a lot of noise about bamboo. We need to see property developers getting on board, and how do we don't just look at it and condemn it. No, it will not do this, it will not do this. Some of the materials that we are now relying on to do were products of research. They were not there. They are not there before. If you see the kind of steel girders that are used to build some of the old warehouses in London, you will know that how much development has gone into steel, where now you have leaner sections supporting stronger, heavier weights, and so on and so forth.
Building materials accounts for between 55% to 65% of construction cost, and most of the materials used in Nigeria are imported. Many African countries, despite the abundant natural resources that can meet their needs for building materials production, still depend largely on imported building materials and technologies. It is pertinent to note that a key benefit of the use of local building materials in housing delivery is cost reduction, which in turn makes the houses being built affordable. The Board and Management of Africa International Housing Show, AIHS, wishes to thank all its partners and friends who made 2021 a successful year. May God Almighty protect and bless you all and your businesses. Welcome to a brand new year, 2022.
The program is housing development. Now for your affordable and luxury homes, Brains and Hammers Limited is your best plug. Here is a quick one from Brains and Hammers.
Bungalow City is a 8,000 affordable housing unit project developed by Brains and Hammers. It is situated along the Kubwa Expressway in the Federal Capital Territory. This project is broken into phases. The phase 1 of the project has 1,000 housing units that are completed or at different phases of completion. The second phase of the project is made up of 1,250 housing units, broken into 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. This second phase is fondly called the Mega City and is fully facilitated and supported by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. The partnership between Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria and Brains and Hammers speaks to the credibility of not just the company, but how far we've come in providing affordable houses for Nigeria.
We have 2 sets of customers. We have individuals who are self-sponsored. We have project that is sponsored by FMBN as well. You can subscribe and get a mortgage through FMBN. So the individuals and the general the mortgage subscribers all fill the form at the first activity in getting the houses. You fill the form, we give you an offer letter. After that, you make initial deposit. Then you decide whether you want to go for mortgage or you want to be self-sponsored. If you're doing self-sponsored, either you go for outright or you go for the 9 months payment plan. If you want to go for mortgage, you fill in your form, you pay the necessary contribution, then you submit your application to the PMB and they process and get the money back to us. Once that is done, within 3 to 6 months you'll be able to get your house.
For the 1,250 units in the Mega City, our clients will have the unique opportunity of access to mortgage as well as rent-to-own opportunity, fully supported by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. This was made possible because of 1, the expertise that Brains and Hammers bring to fore, the development capability of the company, as well as the readiness of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to provide housing for civil servants and low-income earners, starting with the Federal Capital Territory.
The rental rate in Nigeria is in a steady rise, which stands to promote the fact that many Nigerians can only afford to rent properties than buying out properties. This is a reflection of the supply-demand gap of affordable housing, and this trend will keep growing into 2022. More Nigerians need to be homeowners this year rather than being renters. On that note, I wrap up today's episode of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. Do well to follow Housing Development on all social media platforms. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. Happy New Year and do stay safe.